Hey y'all, just gonna do a little review of some RC buggies here. Well, a RC buggy here. Um, this is the I don't know how to say this right. I don't think anyone knows how to say this right, but Rlaarlo, Rlaarlo. Let's just call it that. Maybe I'm not really sure how to say that correctly, but whatever. This is the Stormbreaker version. So if you guys are, I'm going to give some, instead of just doing an unbox and all that, everyone's seen that 1,000 times. I'm just going to give some perspective on what I think if you're someone like me, maybe that has been into RC, out of RC for a couple of years, kind of back into it. Someone that, like myself, has grown up basically from just old school stuff. I'm into my mid 40s now, so I would say that just small background on me. I was around learning this stuff from somebody that was a little older than me at the time, and that's when let's just go way back. Basically RC10, we're talking like RC10 gold chassis. That's kind of like when I started, like way back. That's like I don't even know what year that was. It was where we're talking like very early 90s. That was like the thing. So basically what I'm trying to say is I grew up a lot of my life with just like Team Losi and Associated, and they're big platforms, many parts, they're very reputable companies. So I just want to say, if you're coming from a background, someone like me, where you've kind of been in and out, in and out, in and out, maybe you're just like want to kind of get back into it or something, and you're just like, hey, I'm kind of like a little bit of a budget, all this stuff. I've seen all these reviews now. They're pretty good. There's been some really good ones where people are taking these and just doing crazy stuff, like they'll put in, way gnarlier electronics. They'd be trying to go and like doing these speed runs. I don't really understand that. I think a speed run on a buggy is stupid. Personally, I mean, if you just want to go fast, like get an on-road car. I'm sorry, but I just don't like. It's nice to know that that like any buggy you have can go super fast. So at a certain point, if you're really at that level, if you're like really need that kind of speed, I mean, I don't really know what you'd be using that for. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This thing out of the box, this thing goes like 40 out of the box. So that's pretty freaking good. You can increase that speed a little bit by, if you have a little bit more powerful battery, you probably get a little bit longer run time. You get a little bit punchier, dude. But like, honestly, this thing past 50, that's stupid. Like, do you need to go that fast on a track? No. You're going to hit a straightaway and you might hit like 35, 40 at max, dude. But like after that, it's all about zippy, punchy. If you're doing track stuff, like kind of what I'm going to do, whether it be dirt, I'm not really sure. I haven't taken this to a track yet, but I would say there's a couple things that I don't like about this. I'll go over that, and I'll go over the things I do like about this real quick. Trying to make this like video not too long here, as everyone's going to go over. If you watch other videos on this, there's not a lot of them, but if you do, they're going to show you driving. I might do that, but I just really want to, like, once again, more perspective. So if you're getting back into this, you really want to realize what you're doing. If you're just like going out and doing some crazy bashing stuff, this will be okay. But like, honestly, if you're really going to do that and you're not going to tracks and you really want to like really go hard on something, or you don't have access to track, you're not really doing that kind of thing, dude, honestly, at this point, I'd go 8th scale. They're way stronger. Those things can take a beating. I've driven these low C8s, and those things are indestructible. They're like you can really bomb those things pretty hard on that scale. Maybe a truggy or something like that. They're just the balance and stuff like that. But this thing is this is a full 10th scale. Once again, it's pretty fast out of the box stock. Like, it's not bad. Like, even at somebody at my level, like, I can handle the power, but like, once again, if you haven't been doing this in a while, this thing has plenty of power. Like, I would just learn how this car drives, with the stock setup. You're going to get, once again, you're going to get one of these guys right here. So this is a 3S. Yes. Okay. You're like, oh, it's a 2200. Oh, but you know what? Yeah, that thing's still got pretty freaking good punch. And yeah, it's not going to last as long as, like, 3, 4, 5, whatever, something like that. I've seen other videos of guys putting, like, 5,000s in here or something like that, batteries 5,200 miles or whatever. I plan to do that so I can get a little tiny bit more power and, a little bit longer run times. But for now, I'll go over a couple things that I see on this that I don't really like, that I just think is kind of weird. And I'll just kind of go over this real quick. Once again, there are some other videos. Please check out some other videos. There's some really good ones that go really, really, like, way more in depth than what I am. But I'm going to point out quick things from what I've gathered. I have driven this a few times, just nothing crazy, just around, through the grass. And the other day I found a little spot where I could make like a little, like, dirt track thing. Nothing too crazy. I've seen some other guys go into, like, BMX tracks and stuff, and this will definitely hold there. One guy was kind of saying, oh, it's not that fast, it's not that fast. And I'm like, I don't know, man, dude, this thing's pretty freaking fast from where I was driving it from. But once again, I'll go over a couple things. First thing that I would do, and I saw this in another video, is now I don't have all the stuff to really make this like the best it could be, because I don't have tubes and stuff. But right here, your antenna, it's, when you get it stock, it's like just like folded in here all lame, and I don't really like that. I think that's weird. So eventually, yeah, I'll have to kind of like, and especially then if you're doing the speed runs and things where you need to go further away, you're gonna want that up for sure. So I just kind of did that. That's a little better. It's a little ghetto, whatever. It's the best I could do right now until I get the right stuff to make that better. I'll go over the tires. Another guy I saw in a review did a review more lengthy, obviously, but he did mention the tires, and I would say it's a little weird. You got these, like, I don't know if they're trying to do all-terrain tires here or what tire. I don't know what these are really, really going to be good for. They're okay in the dirt, but they're kind of soft. And then the weirdest thing is, you would think on a 4x car like this, now I'm sure you probably could do this, but you see, look how fat that tire is, and you look at this, not the same tires. It's kind of weird. This thing's full 4x, so you'd think that, like, you'd want the same, on the rear and the front. But the way that they designed this, from what I understand and from other things I've looked up, this car has crazy good balance. I'm not 100% sure if it actually does have a gyro in it. No one's really gone over that, like, on the controller. And I'll show you the controller real quick. It does have, here, let me show you the controller. I don't really like this remote. I think this remote's cheap, but once again, you're buying an RTR. And I will say this, and I'm going to say this every time I do a video on anything, that you get what you pay for on RC. That's just period.com. And that's why these companies are so established, that, once again, low C, maybe even LC racing now, and freaking, these and Associated, these really big, Yokohama, maybe even, it's like super big companies have been around for like 1,000 years. They always have really good support for all their cars. Once again, our Rlaarlo, this brand has been around a couple years now, and they're really trying to make something for everyone, and they're doing some really cool things, I think, budget wise. So check them out. Pretty freaking good, dude. If you're not going with the core, there's some other couple ones I've looked at. The WL toys. If you're looking out there on the market, Google or Amazon or whatever, you're gonna see a bunch of those. They're not bad. But for just a little tiny bit more money, like, this thing's way better. Here's the controller, remote, whatever you want to call it. I think this thing's really kind of lame. First of all, why in the heck if someone can explain this, there's like this I thumb. What is this? What the hell is this? Like you're gonna be using your thumb to? That's the weirdest. That's weird to me, man. I don't know about that. Maybe some people like that. They have good finesse. I don't know what you would use that for, but anyway, here's your buttons. Here's the lamp. See, gyro's on the right, so I'm not sure if this. I don't know what you could put one in. Does it? I don't know. No one's really gone over that. But you do have some trim right there with your what looks like a if you're playing a video game. And then left dial up there on the left right, that's your speed. So obviously if that one is all the way turned all the way up, you're gonna have full everything. I actually recommend, if you're just starting off, even me, I actually tone that back down a little bit because it's just so, this thing is ridiculously grippy on street. It's so, like, you're gonna have no lag. It's kind of like you did, this thing just takes off. Now it doesn't really wheelie, not right now. If I had more power, I think it might, but it's zippy. So I actually turned that, I probably turned mine down to about 80%, and it was good. It's a little bit more controllable, that kind of deal. Anyways, here's the remote. So you do have those dials, and then you got, not really sure what those, maybe that's for steering, I don't really know, but not the best, but this works. It works okay. Like, it's not it'll work, but like, honestly, if I would say, if you like this, it's fine. This is just so basic. This is just like the most cheapest, I don't know, whatever. If you're really worried about remotes, of course you can always just like upgrade to like whatever you have, blah. But once again, yeah, so went over the antenna, just a couple other little things. Here's the battery tray. There is another battery tray they give you that's a little bit longer. Now, from what I understand, your ESC is here. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to zoom in because it's hard to see. But right, you see my finger moving right here, my middle finger, right where that hole is. You can actually move the ESC back to that hole, and then you can do a longer battery here, which is kind of sick. That's cool. You got just real quick, once again, this thing stock wise does have, now once again, this is the carbon version, so this one's a little bit more expensive because now you're dealing with you know, you got full aluminum shock towers, you got, you know, you got your chassis, you got some right where my thumb is here where I'm moving, that's carbon, and then you got the full, you know, nice big aluminum chassis, so just a little bit stronger there. But sometimes plastic, you know, these new, a lot of this plastic they're using is pretty freaking strong, so I'm not really sure. That's kind of, you know, it's cool. I don't really actually know how cool that is though, but I thought that was cool. I would say what I would do, if you're not really, if you're just gonna worry about like if you're not gonna do electronics or really or anything like that, you know, I would just have fun with this thing, cruising around, see how it feels for you, how it works. Once again, perspective, it's like, what are you doing? Are you just gonna go out and bash this thing and like just jump and do random like stuff that I would say at that point just get a Traxxas? I'm not even kidding. It's like, if you're just gonna go around and like do random jumps and try to just beat this thing, to me that's kind of stupid. This thing is more designed for I mean, you can casually like do this wherever, but I really think I'd love to see this thing on a track. I'd be really interested to see how this thing does on a carpet track where you're gonna have way more grip with these tires. I don't even know what that's gonna be like. I think they would hold up okay in the dirt, but it's gonna be a little slippery. You might want to, like, because of this compound, I would say either changing the tires. I might even try changing the tires to all the same size, and I would probably sauce the tires depending on where you're at. Whether it's like, just if it's loose dirt, you're going to be screwed. That's going to be hard to control. If it's clay, you're probably going to be better off. If it's a more hard clay component, something, or composite, I would say I would sauce the tires. You're probably going to be okay for a little bit, but maybe new tires if you're doing that kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm going to try to do. Other things I don't like about how the setup of this car is, the EC is fine. Once again, you can like upgrade all of this stuff. I've seen people doing bigger things. The drive shaft's fine. It's a little weird, but it's accessible. Everything on this thing is accessible. I don't like how they mounted the servo like that. That's freaking weird. That's weird. They have so much freaking room over here. They should have laid that flat, in my opinion. I don't see why that needs to stick up so much. That's just weird. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it's just 4x and the way that I don't know. That's weird. I don't like that. Other things I'll go over. You got oil-filled shocks. Once again, not really sure why they went with this like weird off. You can't really tell on the camera, but like these shocks are kind of like, there you go. There you go, right here. Here. Or this color. The shocks, they almost come out gold, but they're kind of more of a green color, like that piece right there, if you can see that. The shocks are kind of actually, I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, they work pretty good. I would say I would tighten up the rear ones a little bit, because now when I was just dropping this, so here, I don't know if I can, this is hard to do. So right now, this is about, I would say, this is about, right here, this is about 2 feet off the ground. Listen. Okay? So the back shocks, I found, they're okay. Like, the battery's not in it right now, so they're responsive, but I would tighten that up a little bit, because you're gonna come down on a jump, and then look at this. That's not, they need to be tighter. You're slapping down here. So I'm gonna tighten mine up a little bit. I think the front's okay. It seems to be like plush, but it's not like slamming there. It's all in the rear end, and you got more weight back here, so that makes sense. Other than that, the other thing I don't like about this, here, I'll put the body on. Body would go on like this. Okay, and then you got this front little clip that just goes through here like any normal thing. But dude, the back is weird. I've never seen something like this. I've been out of the game for a while. Like I said, this is the weirdest crap. So this piece right here, if you break this, you can replace it. But on the underneath side, I don't know if you can, it's got that weird plastic piece, and so supposedly that plastic piece, it like, you have to like press down and then go that way a little bit, and this locks this piece right here. Doesn't look like it. Like right now it's not locked, but like if you kind of have to, it's weird. It's the weirdest, this shit's weird. I don't know what, you basically kind of press down and then it kind of goes that way a little bit. So it does lock into place, but that, I don't like that. That's weird. That just seems like something will break there and you're at the track or you're somewhere and you can't, I don't know how to, there's probably a way I could figure out how to fix that if I really had to. I would just take this piece off and I'd probably just zip tie like right here. That's so stupid, but like if you had to, I guess that's the fix that I probably would try to do. Anyways, other than that, this thing, you know, I haven't really owned, I'll be honest, a 10 scale 4x car, so that's pretty rad. Once again, I'm used to just dealing with a lot of 2x stuff, but this thing has pretty good, like, it's not, the weight's not that bad. It's pretty decent for what it has on it, but it is sturdy, you know. And you're using, once again, I didn't really mention this, but dude, these turnbuckles are gnarly. These turnbuckles, these turnbuckles are serious. They're thick plastic, but these are almost, that top one, that's A scale style right there, and that bottom one's a little thinner. I haven't heard of a lot of problems with these, but once again, I would say even if you had, I've been looking into another car. Once again, this is really random. Another car that's the what do they call it? It's the RBX 12, the 12th scale basically. Um, so it's just like a little bit smaller than this, and then that thing's pretty cool. Check that out. I just wanted to get something in a different scale. I've always used to driving a lot of 10 scales, but now it's just like 12, 14. There's like all these crazy 14 scales, really nuts. I just wanted something a little bit bigger. I'm not sure how that's going to do around a track. I've seen some videos, but they just look so little and like fragile. I don't know. So I'm going to try the 12th scale when that car comes the next week or so. But anyway, yeah, if you're kind of on a budget and you just want something good, like pretty just straight out of the box good, where you can run this thing for a while, you don't really need to do a lot of upgrades, basic stuff, just like watch your shocks, change that around a little bit, oil them, like that kind of deal, like normal maintenance stuff. I would say, dude, honestly, this thing for the price, I can't find anything better. This thing for the price is just it. I mean, look, once again, you get what you pay for. If you want to get something more expensive, you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I really want low C, or that. Yeah, cool. If you want to spend another like $180, cool, do that. But there's not a big difference. There are some things on here that, once again, people have been going over, like this section right here. I've seen on some of these RTRs where that's like weak. This is that, I don't know what they call this plastic. This is that gray plastic stuff. But it looks pretty strong. Like this car actually has a nice, I've seen some other ones like where my fingers. This actually has a nice brace right here. I've seen some ones that don't really have that. It's pretty, yeah, it's plastic, I get it, but I don't really feel like, I mean, if you're jumping big and bashing, you're gonna probably wreck that. Maybe another car, it's heavy hits yours, but if you're racing or just going around a track, you're probably not gonna break. I don't really. That's gonna take a while to take a beating on that, but I don't know. I can be wrong. Things happen. Yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna end the video here. Just wanted to do a quick little thing. Maybe I'll do another, test run where it's actually moving and all that. But like I said, you guys can check out, this is the SBK Stormbreaker. You guys can check out, there are other videos. I've been looking at a bunch of them lately. They're really good. Some of these other guys just go way more in depth with stuff. They got full channels for this kind of thing. I don't. I'm just kind of like just a rando. But yeah, I just wanted to give, like I said, once again, end it here with the just perspective. Think about what you're doing. You want the all around? Are you gonna kind of bash it like me a tiny bit, but then you're like, no, I really want to take it to a track? This would be a perfect thing for something like that. This thing's just already set up out of the box. Like I said, very little you really need to do here. And yeah, man, check them out. I got mine off Amazon, um, around Amazon Day, so I got a little bit of a deal. But like other than that, like this thing's not that bad. I think you're looking at like maybe this version like 240, 250, I don't know, somewhere around there. And like I said, you're just not gonna get, this thing's just, it's savage. It's yeah, it's got a little, I get it, yeah, it's a little bulky in some areas, but that's just because it's made to do all around. Now once again, this company is pretty decent. They're not quite as big yet as some of the other ones around, but they're gonna give you some extra spare parts when you get this, some A-arm things and some things they know that are like the trouble spots where those might break first. That's cool. Hey, we're in a sport where that's gonna happen. Okay, so other than that, you can go to their website. There's a lot of spare parts for these things, upgrades. There's tons of stuff. And then if, once again, random, but if you're gonna go with another size, either from them, if you do end up looking at the 12 scales, I just wanted to get one of those just so I had something in a different scale to try. That other SBK 12, I don't know who makes that, but the parts, the car is like a carbon copy, not of this one, but another one they make. So that's kind of cool. Like I just just YouTube that. There's the guy that did like a whole video on stuff, and he flipped the cars over. It was really cool. It's like the same parts. So, anyways, that's really random but cool. Look into that if you want to. Other than that, please enjoy. Please be safe. I hope you like this video, and thank you.